warriors chasing gold. This game's ours, it's ours to hold. One shot left, one play to run. Make it count under the setting sun. It's game time grind. All or nothing on the line. Push through the pain. Leave it all in the rain. It's game time grind. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find. It's game time grind. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Ali the Persian, and welcome to a brand new episode of Game Time Grind. I got Mystic and Steve. How you doing, gentlemen? How is everything?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Happy to be here. How are you?
Very good. What about you, Steve? How you doing, man?
Doing great, my friend. Doing great.
Yes, we have an exciting show. Exciting. As you saw, this is the Blitzing edition. We're going to get festive here, and we do have a special guest, which I will introduce momentarily. Before I do so, make sure that you guys hit the like button, right? Subscribe if you're brand new. I see a lot of people on the TFTG channel, which we're live there too watching. I see people on X, on various different accounts watching. Come over to at 4thand10U here on YouTube. Come directly to our channel, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. We're trying to go every Tuesday. Me, Mystic, and Steve breaking down college sports, college football primarily. It is going to be very, very interesting. With that being said, yeah, it's a lot to talk about. What do you guys think? We got a lot going on, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about. I'm going to introduce our host. He is one of our co-hosts here, which we'll be bringing up here. He is 1/3 of the Blitz pickup. Yes, 1/3 of the Blitz pickup. He's known as the boogeyman in many spaces on Twitter or X, right? He's the man that you cannot debate with. He is Lewis. What is up, Lewis? How you doing? Welcome to 4thand10U.
Gentlemen, what's good?
What is good, sir?
What's going on?
What's up,
Nothing,
Lou?
man. Well, listen. First of all, I appreciate the invite. The 4thand10U is my first appearance on the channel, and then I believe we're getting also. I believe this is a TFTG production, so I kind of feel like I'm right back at home, man. You know what I'm saying?
You are,
Sitting here
man.
with the boys, so
You
yeah,
are. This is
absolutely.
definitely part of the TFTG network, and it's being broadcast on TFTG as well. So everybody there is watching. That's why we're trying to grow this side of it too. So definitely, everybody come over to this side and make sure you subscribe. Once we get to 100 subscribers, we're at 53, I want to say right now. Once we get to 100, there will be a giveaway. And then once we get to 200, there'll be another giveaway. So every 100 people, we're going to do a giveaway on here. I already have it planned out and figured out. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, man.
Ali, real quick, Ali, because you know it wouldn't be. You gave me a great intro, and you said I was the boogeyman. And there's a guy in the chat. It goes by, I guess, El Capitan or whoever that is. I don't know him, but it had a comment where it said that's Cap, Ali. And I just want to again salute to you because you've been carrying this network for a very long time. And I just wanted to appreciate you and kind of take a shot at whoever this El Capitan guy is. By the way.
Yeah, he hasn't been around, man. I don't know who that is hardly either. So you're absolutely right. I appreciate the kind words, though. Definitely. But appreciate it. But also, on top of you being the boogeyman, Mystic, check out Mystic in the spaces too. Trying to go almost every day. Today was a crazy day, though. Today was a crazy space. But Leia, let's get into this, right? We got a lot to talk about tonight. Let's start off with coaching. Coaching carousel continues. If you didn't know, Lewis, we have been kind of watching the coaches change schools. Last Thursday, me and Steve had a whole show about the Michigan ordeal that gets even juicier. People thought that DeBoer could be the guy at Michigan, right? Because he originally wanted to go to Michigan, before, and now he's kind of committed himself to Alabama, saying I'm staying here to Alabama. I heard other people are recommitting to their respective schools. It's going to be really interesting what Michigan does as a head coach, who they're going to get as their permanent guy. In addition to it, they just announced, just to add a little bit more to that Sharon Moore deal with Michigan. They just there was a report that I read that they're hiring a private firm to investigate all of the scandals that's happened with their school over the last several years. They're now just hiring a firm. The school's hiring a firm to evaluate themselves of what's going on. What do you guys think about that?
That's insane.
It is.
What?
Go ahead.
Holy crap. So then my thing is, say this firm finds, out all this other stuff that we don't know about, then is the NCAA thing going to open up something, fine them, what's this going to turn into would be my question. What is this? That's going to be nuts, dude.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what it's going to turn into. I kind of think that Michigan is one of those programs where they have blinders on. They know they got problems, but as long as the money's coming in, they don't care. You know what I mean? I think they care now is because one of the most biggest scandals ever with cheating, they got smacked with, massive amount of fines. But that's not the only scandal that they've had over the past several years. You look at all of the recruiting violations that Harbaugh and his coaching staff have committed, right? Where you got the hamburger gate, or the time where he spent the night at a recruit's house. You know what I'm saying? That stuff is kind of weird. And then you also have the incident with their basketball team, Michigan's basketball team, and their head coach. We lost Mystic, but that happened. And then in addition, you look at there's also an issue with someone part of their hockey team, that there was some misconduct made, another scandal. In fact, I heard it was rumored to maybe a possible rape case with their hockey team. So you got that going on. Now, then there's the Weiss thing where he got arrested by the FBI. I don't know if you guys know this. Michigan, over the past, I want to say since Harbaugh, has had like 7 or 8 people arrested that were former coaches or parts of his staff, right? That happens. Lewis just dropped off. He'll probably be back. Probably hit the wrong button. That's fine. But isn't that crazy, Mystic? Wouldn't you agree?
Dude, that's funny enough. So quickly enough, I gotta say it's not 4thand10U if I don't hit the wrong button, right? No, anyway. It's funny you say that, because I was also going to kind of ask the question, like, how many of these guys are, former colleagues of Jim Harbaugh, and how much of this is going to turn around and you find out that a lot of this stuff was happening when he was there? Like it.
Yeah. Well, if you guys aren't familiar with the Weiss scandal, he's the one that hacked into one of the largest healthcare system databases that basically collects all of the injuries and stuff for various athletes around the U.S.
Okay,
and to use it to hack into social medias and copy and download inappropriate photos from those accounts and shit. So imagine what he may have been doing with that. That is, he worked under Harbaugh. Sharon Moore, who just got arrested for stalking, I want to say breaking and entering and something else. I might be wrong about the breaking and entering, but stalking I know was on the list of charges he has. He worked under Harbaugh. All the recruiting issues under Harbaugh. Then you look at the basketball team and the hockey team that now has scandals. It's like they really need to figure themselves out. I personally think if you let all this stuff happen under whoever the AD is of Michigan, I think that's really where your biggest problem is. He's just not being accountable. He needs
100%.
they need to kick him to the curb and do something that is going to bring respectability back to Michigan. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Lewis? Go ahead.
Well, speaking of the Jim Harbaugh, because y'all implemented him into the equation, I believe in it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when Jim Harbaugh left, what I heard was he basically told or informed Michigan he wanted Sharon Moore to be his successor. Like that was part of the stipulation of him leaving. Like he basically said, I'm appointing this guy to take over. I just wanted to say that since y'all implemented him. The question I would have, Ali, you kind of brought up all the scandals that has gone on over like the recent time here in Michigan. Now I know it might be an off the wall type question because what Michigan represents in the landscape of college sports, but we've seen like the SMUs of the world get like the permanent bans and things of that nature. With all the scandals that has been surrounding this program, again, football, basketball, you kind of highlighted it. Do you three gentlemen see a possibility to where maybe not a lifetime ban for Michigan, but let's say the next 10, 15, 20 years, they take away scholarships or even bowl opportunities like playoff opportunities? Do you see that as a possibility?
I'll go last. I'm going to go last. Go ahead.
For that long, like I could see short term. Now it depends on the level of cheating and stuff like that. But man, a decade that would cripple that program. No, like is that crazy? That would cripple them.
Yeah,
I don't think that's crazy though, in the sense of everything that's going on. It's not a football thing. It's a multi-sport thing. It's not just a one guy. It's across the board. All these things are happening. Like that would set a precedence. Fix your shit, or it could get worse. I mean, I think it makes sense.
So my take on it, Lewis, is the fact that, and they just proved that this year with the whole cheating scandal. This cheating scandal, you have to understand, was the largest cheating scandal ever in the history of college sports, right? The way it was orchestrated, what these people within the organization did to actually, steal the signs and what, the lengths they went. No one's ever done that. It's been unheard of, right? And all they got was what, $30 million fine, a slap on the wrist. The reason they won't give them the death penalty, if you want to call it, or a decade of ban or whatever, is because it all goes down to the money. Michigan, if like it or not, and I know it's across multiple sports, they bring in a lot of money for the NCAA. And because of that, the NCAA will never ban them because of the money that they still bring in. It's another reason why I honestly think Michigan still was like, I don't know if you guys heard about it, but with all these teams trying to like say, well, we don't know if we want to play in the bowl game or not. You know what I mean? Michigan was like, no, we're going to play in the bowl game because they know it brings money. That's why. So that's my thoughts on it, Lewis. What are your thoughts?
Hey man, I'm with you, Ali. I think from a money standpoint, Michigan is such a to your point, it just brings in so much money. I think something has to be done, though. Again, you're highlighting basketball scandals. We definitely know under Jim Harbaugh's regime, there were scandals. Now you have this. I mean, something has to be done. I can't imagine the NCAA just smacking. Well, let me say this. I can't imagine, because to your point, it's about money. But I think it would be injustice if it's just a slap in the wrist. It can't be, because I think you're making a good point about the money. We know Michigan has a boatload of money. So what, in reality, what is, let's say, a $500,000 fine to Michigan? It's nothing. What's like $1 million? It's nothing. If all these scandals have come down, for me at least, I'm taking away potential NIL deals with athletes. I'm taking scholarships away. And again, maybe my 10, 15, 20-year ban is a little too crazy, but a 2-year ban, a 3-year ban, something has to be done with that program, because if you keep just giving them slaps on the wrist, nothing's going to change, obviously. So if it was me, y'all know how I roll, man. I'm putting the hammer down on Michigan, and I'm making an example for college football. So that would be my thoughts on it.
I agree with you completely, Lewis. I think that is how I would address it as well. The other thing is that there's rumblings. Nothing's come out officially or anything, just rumblings from people within the communities in that area, as well as other schools. They think that with the new events that just transpired, and especially with Michigan saying that they're going to hire someone to evaluate why these scandals keep happening at their school, why they don't know why it's happening is mind-boggling. They think that it could cause the NCAA to come down with more penalties, even though they've already addressed some of the scandals already. I don't know if you believe in that or not. Somebody was questioning, could they take away the Natty now? I don't know. I'm not going that far. I don't think they're ever going to take the national title away because the game was still played. I honestly think that it's going to come down to, you're going to take away the NIL deals, maybe scholarships, stuff like that maybe hurts the program, but doesn't hurt the whole school overall. You know what I mean? That's what I think is going to happen. I want to move to a different team because they just there's rumors coming out. Brian Hartline, South Florida. Lewis, you know about this. They're looking at hiring the Coastal Carolina former head coach.
Yeah, I seen that. I believe as the offensive coordinator for USF. So
yeah, as the offensive coordinator. Steve, do you have more information on that coach at all?
No, I don't. But yeah, it was the former head coach of Eastern Carolina. There was something else. I'm trying to think. There was somebody else we got from Eastern Carolina, and the name is leaving me at the moment.
Give me one moment. Let me go ahead.
I seen that as well. I think it's something with Eastern Carolina's like recruiting or something. They're like lead recruiter or something like that got hired for a position in the same role or maybe even higher role at USF. But I believe Ali, Steve, and Mystic, it has something to do with the recruiting.
Yeah, so the former head coach that they're hiring as the offensive coordinator. This is being reported, various outlets. So we think that this is going to be official now. Tim Beck is who they're looking at hiring from Coastal Carolina. There is another person, I cannot find his name if life depended on it, but he was the director of scouting or something to that effect.
Kyle Steinhoff.
That is correct.
Steinhoff.
Now, I'm going to introduce another. He's the third of the Blitz pickup. Tony, what is up, Tony? Welcome to 4thand10U, man.
Fellas, what's good? Hey, my bad, man. I'm just getting home. Hey, I had to rush up, try to get on. But what's good? What's good with y'all, man?
Pretty good, man. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate you guys being here. I see you got the U hat on, with the U and everything. We're gonna definitely be talking about them. We were.
You know what, Ali? This is my time to come in here and just say, I love this guy to death, right? Like I love him, but his choice of like hats and T-shirts here recently, I don't approve of it. I'm just here to tell you right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about from a hat perspective.
Okay, I'm sorry. My bad. I know it hurts your heart to see my team in the playoff and yours not, but you can get over that soon, man. You know what I'm saying? that hatred is I'm an old school, so I listen to Bone Thugs and Harmony. Busy Bone once said, "Hatred is a birth defect, but no one's perfect." So I get it.
Yeah, definitely. I see Jess is in the chat. If you want to go ahead and send her the link, tell her to come up. So I'll have the whole Blitz pickup up here if she wants to talk college football. Definitely.
Well, I think I got it on my I'm not gonna be able to say it because I got it off. You had sent it to me off X, so I don't know how
put
to
it
share.
on X. Yeah.
I don't know. I got it on I'm on my laptop, so.
Oh, no worries. No, if someone can send it to her, she's welcome to come up if she'd like to.
Ollie, the thing I was thinking about was our defensive coordinator came from East Carolina, or he was at East Carolina
for a hot minute, and then they got Coastal Carolina offensive coordinator. So that's kind of interesting. Hey, I will say Tim Beck has a connection with Brian Hartline. He used to be at Ohio State. Tim Beck was there as an assistant. I think what he's trying to do to build his foundation is, bringing in guys he's familiar with. In addition, you think about it, I think Brian Hartline is setting himself up to be the play caller. He just needs someone to really coach the fundamentals in practice and make sure that he can keep the guys ready for the game plan, right? I think that's what Tim Beck probably excels at, and that's probably why it was one of his targets. But yeah, what do you guys think of Tim Beck as the offensive coordinator for South Florida? I know Lewis and Steve may have something to say about that.
Well, to your point about Tim Beck, the thing I think for me, what I like the most is he was the head coach at Eastern Carolina. And I'm not saying Eastern Carolina is a big program, but we also know this is Brian Hartline's first time of being a head coach. So be able to bring in a guy, again, we don't know if he's actually going to be calling the plays or if Hartline is going to keep calling plays. From the perspective, though, of you're a first-time head coach and you're bringing a guy that's been there, done that, just to lean on and to kind of like maybe give a little guidance in that area. I think it was from that standpoint, I think it was a great move and a great hire by not only USF, but to your point, Brian Hartline identifying a guy that, again, been there, done that, got experience, a guy I can lean on. I like everything about it from that perspective.
Just a quick clarification. He's not the former head coach of Eastern Carolina. I believe it's Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, it's Coastal.
Just to confirm that.
Quick question: Is Brown staying the quarterback for South Carolina?
That is the biggest question. We had that question in the spaces, right? We don't know. I'm curious. Go ahead.
Well, the reason I was asking because if I'm not mistaken, isn't Tim Beck like he's like more RPO heavy run type of offense? So you're gonna need a running quarterback to run that offense that he run if he's gonna be the one calling plays. So that I'm guessing if Brian Hartline bringing him in is with that mindset that Byron Brown is going to return because he's obviously he could use his legs like that. Well, I will assume. Now I don't know who's the backup or who's the new recruits coming in at South Florida.
So here's some background on Tim Beck that's kind of interesting that I think will excite both Lewis and Steve. So he was an offensive assistant and coordinator at programs such as Nebraska, Ohio State, Texas, and NC State. So he was at Texas for a hot minute too.
What year was he at Texas?
Let me see if I can find that out because it shows
21 or 22. I want to say.
I think you are right. So let me see if I can find when he was there, because what it's found is that this started in, I guess his coaching career started in 88. So let me find out.
Yeah, because it'd be interesting to see what quarterbacks he had.
I was gonna say, Tony, there is some because he was Bynum Brown wasn't at the initial team and meeting with the head coach, but apparently he had private conversations in a private meeting with him. So I don't know if he's staying. I would imagine, and someone did bring it up, like Auburn has a rookie quarterback that they really like, that they recruited, that's pretty highly recruited for them. So unless Coolidge really wants him to come, you would think they would stick with the young kid that they just recruited. I don't know, but it's so up in the air. All I do know is Bynum's going to be coaching our team through the bowl game. So
Yeah, so I just confirmed Tim Beck was the offensive coordinator / QB coach from 2017 to 2019 with Texas.
there you go.
Who was the quarterback then?
I want to say, who was it prior to Quinn Ewers? It's the guy before him.
2017 to 19, quarterback
Yeah.
at Texas.
Sam Ellinger?
Oh, that could be. It could be Ellinger. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Ellinger. He had 3,200 yards and 41 touchdowns in 2018 with Tim Beck at offensive coordinator.
Okay.
Yeah, this guy, I'm looking at his history. He's been with other programs too, like Illinois State, Kansas State. Yeah, Kansas. He was at Kansas for a hot minute. Very interesting. I think this is a good hire for you guys, to be honest. It looks like he's very well rounded. You know, been coaching for several years, so he has experience. I think it's a great hire for you guys, to be honest. I think it's good. So, any final thoughts on that before we move on to the next subject?
Yeah, I did want to put my 2 cents in because I kind of echo what Lewis was saying about, bringing in. It's almost kind of what we asked of when we got Mike McDaniel at Miami. Like, you want to put in, when you have a new head coach, it helps to bring in somebody with that experience who knows how to manage it. Even though I'm sure Hartline's had plenty, with all the head coaches he had at Ohio State, he's had time to see and grow and learn from that. But it helps to have that extra person in the building who can help you set up your structure of your team and the players that you bring in. I wanted to echo that because I think that is a big factor of bringing him, especially since this is a guy who has experience calling games and stuff like that, where, as you've echoed, the difference in levels of what they've allowed at Ohio State for the head coach to call. So we'll see what happens. I think it is good to have somebody who has the know-how and the structure to help him build the USF Bulls moving forward.
Yeah, I know I told you guys. Go ahead, Lewis. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no! If you want to respond to that, because I just had one more question for, again, you guys are the college guys. Y'all would probably know more than me. So if you want to answer or respond to what Steve said, and then I just have a follow-up question for you guys.
I was just going to state that I know I've talked to you guys before about this. I think in the first year, it's just about laying the foundation down. And then you're going to see the little tweaks and really get rolling in year 2 of the Brian Hartline era. So that's where you're going to see the biggest gains, to be honest. But go ahead. I'm interested to what your question is, Lewis.
Well, I think I posed a question the other day in the space to you, Ali. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but for the show, I'll just ask again. I just want a little clarification with the NIL deals now and money getting to go to student athletes, right? When I think about 25, 30, let's say 35, $40 million range of a school looking to invest in certain players or whatever, I think, again, I don't want to, I hate doing it because I give the Hurricanes some shot, but I think of the Miamis, right? I think of the Ohio States. I think of the Michigans. I think of teams like that. USF is supposedly reported to be willing to spend, Ali and everybody else, upwards of 20 plus million in the 25 and up range. Is that surprising to y'all coming from a smaller school like USF, or is now just the landscape of college football, any program really is just throwing out money like that?
Do you want to go first, Tony, or someone else want to go first? And
no, I'm not. Well, surprising, no. I think it should be expected at this point because now that you're allowed to do the NIL deal, those boosters are going to kick money. Like USF have boosters that has money. So now that it's technically legal, I think it makes it more of an even playing field for the smaller colleges because if you start to notice like the landscape of college football, there's a lot of people that has the money to and the capital to donate to their school. It's just illegal, so they weren't able to do it. So now all of those alumni and people that's from that college, they can pay and kick out and help see their team's success. Look, you just said it. They building a new stadium and things like that. So they all of that is built off foreshadowing and expectation and seeing it in the future. Like, okay, we see this is where college football is going. We will have these amount of assets or revenue or whatever you might call it. That's why a team like South Florida could go out there and get a new stadium because, like, okay, we're gonna put the money behind us. They know who their boosters are, right? They understand that, so they know what the budget is. They know how or who they can compete with, and they're in the state of Florida, Lou. Like I know in the state of Florida, you pay these kids, and you all you got to do basically is keep your homegrown talent. That'll keep you at least at
Absolutely.
a level. Because I said this before, right? A 3-star in Florida, it could be possibly a 4 or 5-star somewhere else, right? Y'all do understand? Like Malachi Tony was a 3-star athlete, and he's possibly gonna be the best freshman receiver, hands down for sure. But he could be like freshman of the year. Like I don't know if I think he made first team all freshman, right?
Yeah.
As a 3-star. So you just keep people like that at home. Yeah, you spend that revenue. Trust me, every college, university. Let me say university. Every university has the access to pay these kids. It was just whether they're gonna let it be legal or not. So now we're going to start seeing, like, look at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt kicking at that money. They're boosters, right? And that's the thing. That's what's going to even it out. So now I'm not surprised. I kind of expected this because they know what's necessary to stay on the same level or to keep their team relevant.
Yeah, I would agree with Tony completely. I definitely agree with his take. I'm just going to add a little bit onto what you're stating. I think the money has always been there for USF. I don't think this is like, oh, we now have money out of nowhere. No, it's always been there. I think the biggest thing is now they have a guy that they believe in, that they feel comfortable spending the money because they know that the success is going to be there. Look, Brian Hartline was touted as one of the best prospects for a head coach position in this cycle, right? He, even last year, they said that he could have very well gotten a job, but he decided to stay for another year, right? And the fact that they went out and got the arguably one of the top prospects at head coach, I think that's amazing. And I think they think that with having him there and having the right guy, they feel comfortable spending that money now. And they know they're going to get to keep their homegrown talent. If you look at what Brian Hartline brings to that team, it's not just a winning what's on the field that he wins at. He wins at everything else outside of the field. He wins at recruiting. He wins at networking. People want to come play for that organization because of him. So it's not just the X's and O's on the field, it's everything else he brings. And I think that's what now you're starting to see all the money being talked about and them spending it. I think they've had it all along. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do y'all remember like Clemson? When people think of Clemson, you think of that big college atmosphere. But do y'all remember they had that downtime where they won in the upper echelon of schools? So I remember because I used to follow all of Florida sports. So when they're good, I'm following them. So I remember when Urban Meyer, they had what was his defensive coordinator, the black dude, Charlie Strong. He had Charlie Strong as his defensive coordinator. This is when everybody was at Florida. Florida was, and they was losing every year. I think they lost 2 to 3 top recruits to Clemson. And Clemson wasn't at that point. They won. If you go back to Urban Meyer years, Clemson they wasn't on top of the NFL game, right? I mean the college game. And he went, if you watch the story, he went to his coaches and he was going off on them. How in the heck we keep on losing these guys to that school down there? And Charlie Strong is the only one that, had enough balls to try to talk back to him. He was like, well, have you seen the facilities? And he was like, he's just going at it. Urban Meyer's going at it. He doesn't want to hear him. So he said he literally had to stop Urban Meyer and say, Coach, have you been to Clemson? Have you seen their facilities? And he was like, no. So he told him, well, go take a trip there, and then you come back to Florida, and then you come back and talk to us. Urban Meyer said when he went to that place, mind you, Clemson Bennett had the money. They just had to get the people there. When he went to that place and saw their facilities, he came back and made the AD in Florida upgrade everything in their facilities. Go look at when they did their upgrades. You're going to see it's around Urban Meyer time, because that's how he understood, okay, all you got to do is mesmerize these kids. They see the investment you put into your program, and you're going to convince some students to come here. So I'm saying that to say this: South Florida, they building a new stadium, getting new facilities. Guess what? More attraction for those students to go there. We all been in school before. It's nothing like I could speak for myself, right? That high school down here. It's nothing like talking trash about, oh no, well we got our separate, like I went to Booker T. Washington. So at that time, I think only us and Miami Northwestern had a separate gym for the basketball team. And we usually used to brag about that. Well, we got our separate gym. Y'all gym is inside y'all school. So just coming from a student athlete mind frame, these type of things matter when you have just bragging rights purposes, and that can attract students to go there, right? And the last part, with the money part, I'm gonna tell y'all a story about high school. This one right here, just so you understand how the money is always there. It's just you have to get a guy like what Ali said that they believe in. So at this school, I'm not gonna say the name, right? They had for the first time, I don't know what year it was, that they had that school never been good. They went undefeated, and they made the high school playoff games, right? Their coach the year before had won the most games. I think they only lost 2 games that year. He got recognition. It was going to go to one of the main schools. I think Central or Miami Jackson, one of them. And the parents of one of the players own, I'm not going to say what they own, but it's something that everyone knows. Right? They own one of these franchises. And when they found out, him and his business partner, they put $60,000 together and paid that man $120,000 to stay at that school. That's how much people want their and this is high school. So just imagine how they do it on the college level. So now that it's legal for NIL deal, those alumni are going to spend the money to make sure their school can compete with everyone. So just the mindset of how it is here in Florida, because Florida in football is king. Football is king in Florida. So I'm not worried about them being able to compete on that, as long as they have the alumni willing to spend that bread. And they're showing it by upgrading their facilities. So,
if I could add one thing to that too, Tony, I think the thing to keep in mind too, we hired Rob Higgins as the CEO of athletics when we after firing our AD 2 years ago. Like, this guy was brought in September, and since the moment he got here, it's been football first. I think that's why I'm not surprised. He is pushing for something I've been begging for from this freaking college, to put the football program forward. They've been about their basketball team. They've been about other things, and just kind of let the football fall to its wayside. He is pushing for everything. And I forget who mentioned it a minute ago, but it was brought up about like trying to keep the kids from Central Florida in Central Florida. That was literally Brian Hartline's first comment when he was talking about recruiting, was not allowing these kids to keep leaving this area. He's like, I've taken so many kids from Central Florida. I'd love to keep them here. Like, even this year, and it's still going to happen, we lost a 4-star corner and from I believe St. Pete, Clearwater, and then we lost a 4-star quarterback from St. Augustine to the U. Yep. Like, How do we build our program when everybody's
That's Coleman,
leaving?
right?
Yes.
Mhm.
So like what are we supposed to do with that? So that's been their focus, and especially Rob Higgins, he really wants to bring the football forward. That's why I wasn't surprised that he pulled the money out of these boosters and was like, this is what we need, this is what we're going to do moving forward.
Yeah, it's really really interesting. I think it's I think that kind of I hope that answered your question, Lewis, in regards to the money and
Mhm.
what's going on with USF. So yeah, exciting times if you're
Yeah,
a South Florida
absolutely.
fan. Definitely. Let's get on to the next subject here. The Heisman Award goes to the Cuban Missile, Mendoza, right? That's what they call him now, especially down here in Miami. That's what they call him. What did you guys think about this ceremony? It's pretty much the same ceremony every year that they have. They tell their story and everything. It was for me, it was kind of interesting what happened after the award ceremony, right? The comments made by Diego Pavia and the photo he took and saying F all the voters and stuff. And he had to apologize the next day or something, or he took took it off social media or whatever. Did that surprise you? Like, was there anything that surprised you about the award ceremony? Were you surprised with the rankings?
I guess I'll start on this one. Salute to Fernando Mendoza again. Him being Cuban, me being Cuban. It
Mm-hmm.
means a little to me from a sentimental standpoint to see, a kid again from South Florida, born and raised in Miami, to win that award and bring it back to Indiana. Again, salute to him. But again, I if I'm going to be fair, right? I think Diego Pavia, for me, Ali, when I look at some of the comments and stuff, I don't want to. I don't want to kill the kid. Again, he's young. Even if you want to say it was a bad look, maybe he shouldn't have did it. That's fine. I think all of us as grown men now, we can go back to when we were 20, 21 years old, maybe, and we were making mistakes at that time. I would say maybe it was a bad choice of words. But again, to be fair, I think Diego Pavia had an argument to be made to be the Heisman, right? I understand why Mendoza won it. His team was undefeated, won a Big Ten championship, took down Ohio State. That's the last memory everybody got to see before the award ceremony. But I look at when Shedeur Sanders kind of went to Colorado, right? And Colorado was a nobody program, and they were like, well, Shedeur gets so much credit because look what he did over there. And the only reason I'm bringing this up, Vanderbilt, for the majority of my lifetime, has been a baseball school. It's never been a football school. If you look now, because of what Diego Pavia kind of did here this season, and even maybe a little bit last season, they just flipped the number one prospect from the quarterback position from Georgia to go to Vandy this season. That's because of Diego Pavia, right? So when I look at it, everything that he's kind of meant to Vanderbilt, the way he's changed it, and then again, the numbers. It's astonishing. Again, I understand why Fernando Mendoza did it, and I'm happy he won it. But again, when I think about the comments that Pavia said, and he did have a gripe, at least for me, in my opinion. When you look at the numbers that that kid was doing and the games that he was winning at Vanderbilt, look at some of the schools that his team ended up beating. Nah, I got to take a step back and put emotions aside, even though I'm happy for the Cuban. And I do think, again, all I'll say is, Ali, to answer the question, he had an argument to be made. I look at the Jeremiah Love, okay, cool, I get it. But for me, it's a quarterback award. I know Julian Sand had a good season as well, but I look at everything that he has kind of around him. I'm not trying to take that away from him, but we got to put that into play. I think it was either going to be Mendoza or Pavia for me. And just going by the numbers, man, it's not even close when you really do a deep dive into it. Pavia did have a strong argument to at least be the Heisman Trophy winner this season. But that's just my thoughts on it. I'm trying to be fair to the kid, Diego Pavia.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but Mendoza had better numbers all over the board though than Pavia. He had more touchdowns.
He has more touchdowns. They have the same per yard average, and Pavia has like 200 yards more passing.
Wait,
What
you mean
about
Mendoza got more? Don't Mendoza got 33?
Yeah. No, so Mendoza has more touchdowns. Pavia has more yards. They both have the same yards per attempt average.
And
okay,
then how about rushing touchdowns as well from the
I
quarterback
think that's
position?
where Pavia wins. I think that's
yeah,
where Pavia
but
wins.
by little, I think Pavia only got like two more rushing touchdowns, like 8-6. I think. I think it's only like 8-6 or something like that, or 8-5. It's no. Mendoza had a better season. I'm sorry. Pavia. Now, this is what you get me with the Pavia, which I'm not mad at him. Let me start off preface it by saying this. Not mad at him. I like people. The only reason he apologized is because for public reasons. You know what you call that?
HR reasons. I got you.
PR, there you go. Public relations.
PR. Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
But no coach, at least let's say me from a standpoint, if I was his teammate, I wouldn't have a problem with that. If I was a coach in the NFL, I would never have a problem with that. You know why? Because that means it meant something to him. That means he's not like the rest of these people, and they're like, okay, I was in a happy. He wasn't just happy being there. He felt like he was the best. He felt like he was going against the best competition. Mm-hmm. And he literally had it really like, I felt like I look at his schedule. This is what you get what Pavia to Lewis credit. This is what he could have said.
Yeah.
I did it. My biggest Fernando, listen, you did it against Ohio State. They was the #1 team in the country, but that was your only test. He played the Tennessees of the world. He played give me the schedule that he had. Then he played like the Tennessee, the LSU's, did they play Bama?
I just had that. They had 5 straight ranked games, honestly.
Ranked games, like back to back. When I went and watched that, I looked at that, I said, whoa, okay.
I was doing the continued deep dive on the other stats. Sorry to interrupt you, Tone. As soon as I pull up Mendoza here, so Pavia ran for 826 and 9 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, and I don't think Mendoza was even close to that.
240
and 800. Yeah.
Well, not the 800, but the touchdowns. How many he had?
6.
9 to 6.
Yeah, so
9 to 6.
So it's 9 to 6. So what? Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
But it's almost a 600-yard difference in between yardage though.
In rushing, yeah. So I mean, yeah. At the end of the day, the night and day is what I'm getting. I don't think it was night and day. I think Pavia did it against stiffer competition on a game in, game out basis. But you said it yourself. It's a quarterback competition, and who had the biggest quarterback moment? I think if he beats Alabama, that they might have took that into consideration more. The fact that Fernando on the biggest stage beat the Ohio State Buckeyes, I think it's called Heisman moment. That was his that comeback against Penn State. Penn State, he had a little Heisman moment, and then beating Ohio State, giving Ohio State their only loss on the biggest stage thus far, right? Because we know that was the biggest championship. The Georgia Alabama wasn't as big as the Big Ten, you know, Ohio State versus Indiana. That was the game of the weekend of all champions. For him to play that game and beat the only one to beat that team, I think that what won it for him. However, I like what Pavia did. Me personally, I didn't see no one had a gripe, no one had a mind. That means the level of competition is what I'm looking at. That means he wants to win at everything he does. So listen, like you said, like I was saying, PR reasons they made him apologize. I would never apologize for nothing.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. He's definitely a competitor, right? He has a competitor mindset. He wants to win, because if you finish second, you're the first loser, or whatever they call it, right? Yeah. So I agree with you on that standpoint. The only thing that I have an issue with how the Heisman is awarded, right? Sometimes the Heisman is awarded, and I feel it is this way. is that it's awarded to somebody that has the best feel-good story, right? Pavia had that feel-good story, to be honest, going into this Heisman cycle. I think where he kind of lost it, though, is the fact that Mendoza took this one school that has been what's the term I'm looking for, Mystic? They've lost the most games than any other program in college football history, right? Yep. They're the worst program ever. They haven't won anything since maybe 1967, right? Took them
was a basketball school.
We're talking about football, college football. We're talking about basketball.
No, I'm saying we knew them as
a football
school. And he turned a basketball school into a football school. Yeah,
and he took that program and ran with it. Not only beat Oregon, beat Penn State, and ultimately took them to a Big Ten championship and beat Ohio State when no one else could do that so far, right? And what he does the best, he is Mr. Clutch. I will go ahead and say it. Mendoza is Mr. Clutch, and I think that's what really won him the votes. So I do agree. Pavia definitely was deserving. I honestly don't have an issue with the rankings. They were kind of how I thought it would fall, especially after Ohio State lost in Julian Sain's performance. He didn't do anything to lose the game. You know, if you look at the actual stats in that game, him and Mendoza were almost even across the board, except in the clutch moments. That's where Mendoza won. Did you guys see what Ryan Day said about Julian Sain?
No.
It was very telling. It was very telling for me. I already knew Mendoza won it at this point, but I kind of agree with him. So Julian Sain's story is that his feel-good point was he told everybody when he was a kid that he would be at the Heisman ceremony one day, right? And he got there. So great, hats off for him. But Ryan Day told the announcer guy or the commentator who was standing there, said that, you know, what's remarkable to me is that he was a redshirt freshman and he was able to get here in his first year being a starter. He's played so little football compared to some of these other people that were there, that he could, you know, make anything happen. Like, it's very special. And then the commentator went with it and said, you know what he just told you? He's talking to Julian Sain. He just said that you're going to win this someday. So I thought that was really telling and interesting. I do agree. It is pretty remarkable what Julian Sain was able to accomplish. I know we sit here and we argue about the fact that he has Jeremiah Smith and he has Carnell Tate, but there was one or two games where those guys didn't even play and he was still performing, right? And you look at Mendoza, he still has elite receivers. Those receivers, granted, I know they may not be the top echelon 5-star receivers. I still think they're very talented and he has weapons. So for me, I definitely agree Mendoza deserved it. I liked how it ended. I think Julian Sain, he could be one of those guys you'll see him again in the next cycle, is basically what I'm saying. So any other thoughts on the Heisman Trophy winner or any on the ceremony or anything like that?
I don't know about the Heisman Trophy, but Avon Joe, that ain't right.
What do you say?
I seen it, Steve.
I didn't see it. What do you? Oh, let me look.
Hey, you know how I get, man. I ain't gonna be no more of them and them kind of comments. I don't know who and them is.
Hey, sorry. Hey, I need
Yes.
I know I got here pretty late because I was out, but I do have to do my film breakdown for the show tomorrow. Just let you know. So
Sure.
if I gotta leave early, I just want to let you know ahead of time.
Sure. If you have a few more minutes, because the next subject I think is going to be right up your alley.
Okay.
All right. So the next subject we have is first round. We'll go ahead and talk about the first round. Starts this week. Right off the get-go, Mystic reminded me that Miami, for some reason, is the first game. Why is the James Madison not the first game? Why is the other games like more important than this Miami game?
Because
I think
people
that-
want to see James Madison at a 6:30 instead of UM. They want to do that 11 a.m. and get it out the way.
Cap.
Oh, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Cap.
I don't get this. Please explain it to me, Tony. Please.
I can give you the Miami. I believe Miami and Texas A&M is going to be the most competitive game this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the scheduling, Mystic, this is the only game that is not going up against the NFL schedule. So that's why they scheduled them at noon. All the rest of them do you remember there's a doubleheader on Saturday for the NFL. So this is the UM is in their prime spot, the noon game, which everyone knows college football to be. The rest of them are going up against the NFL game. So if you're going to lose ratings, you're not going to lose rating on a Texas A&M UM game. You're going to do the James Madisons of the world. You get what I'm saying? So that's from my assumption. That's where I assume.
Hey, that's a good call.
It's the reason for it, but I think that's why they did it like that.
Yeah, no, solid take, Tone. I honestly totally didn't even think about the games. I thought
Yeah,
it was
that didn't even cross my
from
mind.
now. So yeah, solid take, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate
I'm
it.
gonna go the opposite way. I think the NCAA knew that a lot of people like to go off on Friday night, this happy hour. People are going out, and they'll probably be sleeping around noon still. So again, just get the game out of the way. Just get the game out of the way that no one cares about, man, and just get it out of the way early.
Hey, Ali, I got a quick question for you. What time was the Ohio State Michigan game?
Oh, that was big noon. Big noon. It's always big noon though. Every
Big
year.
noon? You mean like the noon? 12 noon?
Yeah, 12
okay.
noon.
Okay.
But that's a game.
I didn't wonder if it was.
Matters.
I just want to know if it was the
Game
trend
that
for the
matters,
marquee
The
game.
big noon game was the highest watched game that weekend, by the way. Even beat out Alabama versus Auburn. Yeah, which is a big rivalry, as you pointed out to me.
The Iron Bowl, but they did pick the biggest college football rivalry on at noon, right?
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to know what did they put their marquee matchup. That's all.
Yeah, and the only other game that had like the biggest viewership this college season was the Ohio State and Texas game, which was also at noon.
No,
damn.
The noon.
Are we? Because I know Tone said he has to get out of here in a little bit. Are we breaking down the games at all, Ali? Are we?
Yes, that's actually that was my okay. What I was going to get into. I just wanted to start with that because I was trying to figure out what is going on. All right, so breakdown for the Miami and Texas game. This is going to be a really interesting matchup. I'll just give you guys some tidbits so we can chop it up a little bit about this. You have Miami versus Texas A&M. A&M is favored by minus 3.5 points. The over-under is 51.5. It'll be very interesting. I think it's going to come down to Carson Beck and what Carson Beck does on the field. I know you guys have the talent. You have the offensive weapons. Unlike what some people believe, I think you do have the defense. You have the offensive line. You got everything you need. It's just going to come down to him. And I think if they get the early tempo going, I think they run Texas A&M, out of their own backyard. To be honest, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I think this is a game that Miami. I think Miami is going to come out with attitude. To be honest, I think they don't like being disrespected by the whole college football committee process. That whole thing. The whole ordeal with Notre Dame and the he said, she said BS. I think they're going to come out swinging. What do you think, Tony? What do you think what's going to happen?
So, my unbiased opinion, right, is I just like every time I talk about sorry, I'm trying to make sure I get double time. People don't understand how good of a defense UM has. So, I know. See, when I have confidence in my team, it's because of our defense. Carson Beck is going to be the key here. If Carson Beck could avoid the turnovers, and if you look at the only 2 games we lost, both of them was the direct effect of, the direct cause of Carson Beck turning over the football. The Louisville 4 turnovers, including the game clinching turnover. With us going in with the opportunity to win the game, he turned the ball over. And then obviously SMU overtime, you throw an interception in overtime, right? So he's directly the reason why we lost both our games. And I think, okay, so our defense is ranked top 10 in every category except for pass defense, which I think they're like 15th or something like that. Right? They're 6th in overall points per game, which is 13, I think, that we give off. 13 and 6 point per game. I think we're 8th in rushing yards allowed and around 8th and 9th in total yards allowed. Right? I think we're 9th or 10th in total yards allowed. So that defense is, and it's physical. If you talk to anyone outside of the fan base, right, the people that give their unbiased opinions, when they watch the game, they're like, if you put both teams, Texas A&M and at their best, has the athletes and the capability to dominate them more than how Texas A&M will have the capability of dominating us. That is at our best. Now, this is one caveat that I don't think a lot of people know about This whole season, from game 2, I think it was, we were down 7 starters, 5 on defense, and that still brought in a top 10 defensive unit. Now we got everyone back except for 2 the last game, and now we're expected to get everyone back, including our top D tackle, back this game. So I think that's going to be the difference. That atmosphere is going to be crazy. Like I don't think we played in front of more than 60,000 fans this whole season, right? And that is going to be the key. But there's some guys, because we went up there 2 years ago on this team that went up there in Texas A&M, and we lost by 6 points. Right? I think it was 17-9 or something like that. So that 7 points, I guess. Right? I'm 8 points, sorry. So 17-9. So they're used to that atmosphere. I think that if Carson Beck don't make mistakes, we could pull that game out. I'm confident that we're going to pull that game out, and I'm confident enough to come out here and guarantee a victory. Like if I got to give a score prediction, I'm still on the fence of whether this is my unbiased. Take away the hat. I'm still thinking about which way that can go. However, I believe if we force, what's his name, Reese, the quarterback. I'm sorry, I don't know the name. What's the quarterback name?
Reed. I think it's Reed. Yeah.
We force him because he either could be great or you could force him into turnovers. I don't know if y'all saw that South Carolina game. That first half, they were making him look terrible. Defense is coming like that all 60 minutes, right? So I think that's the key to us pulling off that victory. And I think we're gonna dominate them on defense, and hopefully we let our running game wear them down towards the end of the game. That's when you start seeing the running back start to have success, and we put the game away like that. Last thing, so I can end it. Mario Cristobal, I hope you learn from the last 5 games. This is college football. You never take your foot off the neck. Never take your foot off the gas, because that's cost us some games. And it's the Florida State, we let them come back. Notre Dame. If we continue, that game was 21-7 the whole game. Until they got that one touchdown, and then it became close, and then they tied it up, right? If he just kept his foot on his neck, I think that game doesn't look as close as it is, and people respect more than they are now. But we got to go out and prove it. But I'm confident that I think we're going to win based off our defense.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. The key to the game for me is keeping your penalties low. You're one of the highest penalized teams nationally. So I think that is a key. But also, where I think Texas A&M has a good front four, they can bring pressure on the line. I think they leave their defensive backs. I think they leave their secondary a little bit open for those quick throws. That's why I said it's going to be up to Carson Beck to be able to read that. So I think you guys definitely have a fighting chance. I don't think this is going to be like one-sided where Texas A&M just rolls you guys. I actually think you guys win this game. That's my honest take, non-biased. Tony, thank you for coming, man. I know you're busy and you got to go. I appreciate everything, and thank you for coming and hang out with us, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate y'all. Steve, Mystic, Lou. I'll see you later, my brother.
Take it
Hey,
easy,
appreciate
bro.
y'all, man.
Hey, Tone. Yeah, we'll definitely see each other later. But real quick, don't leave yet. Can I get my
You want to
take on
give
the
his
game
take?
before you go
You want
real
to give
quick?
his take?
I just want to give my take real
Knew
quick.
this was coming.
Yeah, I think I got
Yeah,
something too, you know.
Go ahead.
yeah,
I'll let y'all get y'all take on. I got about 2-3 more minutes.
in the great words of one Louis A. Amador in Twitter, Tony done lost his damn mind. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. The fact of the matter is, it's a Texas A&M world. I listen. Carson Beck is a train wreck. He's TVD 2.0 for you Hurricane fans. If you know, you know. No, in serious though, I think Tony made a lot of good points. Carson Beck is definitely a concern. Mario Cristobal, again, he's been coached a lot of different places. He was at Oregon, never seemed to be able to get over the hump. He's been at Miami, kind of highlighted some of the taking the foot off the gas. We always talk about a certain coach, another coach in Miami with some coaching decisions. I think Mario Cristobal kind of falls in line with that as well. A concern for me, and I'll be honest, is I know the Hurricanes have a lot of talent, but towards the end of the season, I think just watching them from afar, they were too Malachi Tony dependent, right? And we know we all follow a different team in Miami, and it was the Tyreek Hill too dependent led Dolphins. And when Tyreek Hill was going off, it's beautiful. When Malachi Tony's going off, it's beautiful. I just think, again, you try to create some turnovers if you're Texas A&M, kind of put some pressure on Carson Beck, and you take away Malachi Tony. I don't know, man. I think if the game is nip and tuck, I think Miami will start trying to force too much of Malachi Tony. And as special as that kid is, and I'm not going to take nothing away as a freshman, listen, I know I troll a lot of Hurricane fans. He's the real deal. You can't take that away from him. But one man can't beat 11. And I just think that if Miami starts getting in a pinch and they're close, they just lean on him too much. And I think that's too much of an expectation to put on a young man, especially a freshman. So, Tone, before you go, again, we do a show for a reason. You my brother for life. But Texas A&M by double digits.
Ooh.
Damn.
Oh shit!
I would like to point out to this, Lou. You did say that. I'm glad you did point that out. I didn't mention this. I didn't mention the two players that was missing on offense. Yeah, that just so happened to be our starting running back, Mark Fletcher, and our other starting receiver, C.J. Daniels, the one that had the nice catch against Notre Dame. That's why towards the end of the season, you seen him get to Malachi Tony because they both was out. But that gave people like Gerard Pringle, the freshman running back, opportunity to step up, and then Jozo Trader, another homegrown talent, opportunity to get some play. He dropped like one of the interceptions in Louisville. It was right in his hand, and he dropped it, and he got over there. But yes. So that is a concern that we had down the stretch. But I think C.J. Daniels coming back. He's the transfer from LSU, and Mark Fletcher getting back in. So we getting our starting receiver and starting running back.
Lewis, I'm disappointed in you. You didn't even point out the other big thing. Is Ruben Bain gonna show up this game?
Oh God, here we go.
Are you talking about Chop Robinson 2.0?
Is Ruben going to be able to finish them sacks? Is he going to be able to go beyond the pressure and actually finish?
A what if? Is it going to be a what if?
Texas was
Steve,
talking super spicy offensive linemen. We're talking super spicy. Like Ruben's going to have to feel that and actually do what everyone says he can do and actually finish what he starts on these drives. That's my biggest key.
Look,
you know what, Steve? That's a great point. Ali, real quick, I didn't know over here on 4thand10U, you guys talk about almost guys. I didn't know that. We're talking about almost guys over here.
Okay, here we go, y'all.
Oh my Lord.
Okay, real quick here. I do want to add in some little tidbits because it just kind of, again, I forget about things. So much happens since the last time we've seen some of these teams play. Last game Texas A&M played, they lost to Texas, and their quarterback seems to, funny enough, A&M seems to have a quarterback that has the same problem as the University of Miami. Funny enough, they both almost have the same stats, turnovers and all.
Mm.
It's literally going to come down to which quarterback doesn't want to make that big mistake. Truthfully, we know what Miami's defense can be. I think if Miami's defense can come out and carry, they can run the ball, allow Carson Beck to make some little throws, nothing too crazy. I feel like you don't ask the guy to do a lot. Play complimentary football. I think this is an easy victory for Miami, but at the same time, it could also go the other way. Like I said, you look at both these quarterbacks, and it's who's going to make that mistake. That's what I see when I look into it. At the end of the day, I do think Miami's going to move on. I think you see a late turnover by the quarterback at A&M, and you see Miami move on to the next round.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mystic. I'm kind of disappointed in Lewis, to be honest, saying that it's Texas A&M by double digits. I'm sorry, I'm on the agenda that I want the rematch with Miami, so that I can spank them on prime time and not at noon. So that's what I'm looking for. So please, Miami, do your job, know your role, and get it done. Thanks, Tony. We really appreciate you being here, man.
Appreciate y'all,
Really
man.
do.
Appreciate y'all for having my good people.
Definitely.
Easy,
Check
man.
out Tony at the Blitz Pickup. Lewis, are you able to hang out a little bit longer with us, or you got to go too?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. So yeah, any final thoughts on the Miami versus Texas A&M game? I do think it's going to be an interesting game. I have a feeling Miami is winning it. I really do, to be honest. I think that, you look at Carson Beck, he has the experience, playing for a team like Georgia for several years. I think that they have the coach, and I think they have, the offensive weapons and the defense to go along with it. I think it's going to be about decision making on the field and taking advantage of, certain weaknesses, but also, not playing into the penalties that they've had that's hurt them all season long. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. Any other thoughts on that matchup at all?
Yeah, just to give my full thought, because it was a little bit of the trolling for Ruben Bain. Tony knows that. But I think that he made a good point about CJ Daniels and stuff like that. If CJ Daniels does play, it is going to become a Malachi Tony game. It's going to come down to if Texas can stop him, because Will Lee is probably going to see a lot of CJ Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
Will Lee is going to blanket that man, and it's going to become an iron will fight on one side of that field. So it is going to come down to Carson Beck making smart decisions, not trying to take it all in one shot, and not making the bad decision of trying to force it to Malachi Tony, who, as I said in the space, I think by far was their team MVP, and in my opinion should have been in the race for the Heisman as a freshman. Like, that kid is special. He just is. But I think, that being said, it comes down to key matchups. I do think Miami ends up taking this one, though.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But I do think it's also going to come down to that running game. I want to say Miami hasn't had the most consistent running game. And if they can find a way to run the ball a little bit more consistent against Texas A&M, I think that will close the game off for them. I think they will walk away with it.
I want to throw another name out there. Cassius Howell for Texas A&M has 11.5 sacks on the season. A name to watch.
Yeah, they do have a good front four, like I said. Any other thoughts on the Texas A&M versus Miami game, Lewis?
No, I'm all good. I know you have a vested interest, Ali, because the following week, if Miami won, and assuming Ohio State gets past their first round matchup, it would be a meeting of the minds, let's say, of we can finally put a long time story rivalry, I guess, in the national championship game to bed. I don't think Miami goes into Texas A&M, really, to be honest. I don't think they win. But me trying to be selfish, and as much as I like to troll Miami Hurricane fans, I would definitely be on your side week 2, Ali. I would be pulling for Ohio State. So selfishly, I want the Hurricanes to win. I just don't think realistically they can go in and do it.
It's fair enough. I'm looking. See, I'm looking at it is it depends which version of the Miami Hurricanes show up. If they come at their best version, like the one that was spanking Notre Dame, and it was like 21-7 before Notre Dame kind of came back in the end. I think there's a chance, definitely, if they can kind of replicate that. But it's going to be hard. They're playing at Texas A&M, right? In that first round, it's not a neutral site. It's actually Texas A&M gets the home game. So
Yes, yep.
it's going to be really tough. Plus, on top of it, and I think you posed this question in the space, let's say they win that game. Are they going to come all the way back home only to come all the way back to Texas? Or are they going to stay in Texas? I think they stay. I think
I think
they stay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Ali. I think if they're smart, again, and hopefully, I don't know how that would work. I'm sure they could get their equipment or clothes or however they travel well. But yeah, to your point, Ali, I think because I think the Ohio State Miami matchup would be in the Cotton Bowl. I think we kind of figured that out. That's also in Texas.
Yeah.
If the Hurricanes were smart, I would say just stay out there for the week. You obviously you'll be able to find a practice facility there. Knowing that you'll be put up in somewhere nice and safe to stay. I would say just stay out there. Absolutely.
Yeah. For me, my question is this: how well do the Hurricane fans travel? Have you guys ever looked at that at all? Ohio State fans, I can tell you personally, we travel no matter where it is. In fact, I want to say that Texas Ohio State game last year at the Cotton Bowl, right, which is the same stadium we would be playing this foreseeable game if it happens, this matchup, it was 50-50. It was half Ohio State fans, half Texas fans. So do the Hurricanes the Hurricane fans travel like that? I mean, do you guys know offhand?
I don't know if they travel like that. Listen, I know the Hurricanes got a big fan base, but a lot of the times they're really not even selling out Hard Rock Stadium in Miami for Hurricane games. And I believe Texas A&M, that stadium is over 100,000 seat stadium. I think it's like 102, 103,000 stadium. And this will be a question I'll lean on you guys since you are the college guys. How does that work? Like, can anybody buy tickets? Because I thought in college, like when I'm watching games, it'll be the majority of the stadium is, for instance, it'll be Texas A&M. And then like a little small section in the corner right of the stadium will be the section for the opposing team. Is that how the playoffs is? Or can anybody just buy tickets? And because Ali, I just heard you say something about 50-50. But a lot of times when I'm watching college football, it doesn't look 50-50, especially in some of them bigger arenas. It just looks like the opposing team has a smaller section. So how does that work?
It depends on how you buy your tickets, right? So I know, like, if you're buying it through the school, like, let's say you're an Ohio State fan and you buy it through Ohio State's box office or whatever, I know for a fact that they have certain sections that they're deeming the supporter section for your school. So you can pick up those seats. If you go through like a Ticketmaster or StubHub or Vivid Seats or something like that, then you can pretty much select anywhere you want. So I guess it just depends on how you buy your tickets, to be honest. So yeah, look, according to Vamos, they travel well. It'll just be very interesting. But I will say this, it will be really funny if Texas A&M wins still. I wouldn't mind that, because then that would be back-to-back years Ohio State had to beat a Texas team in Texas. So to me, there's something to be had there, to be honest. I want to switch gears to the next school matchup, Oklahoma versus Alabama, right? Big matchup. Oklahoma already beat Alabama this season. I want to say it was at Alabama. I could be wrong about that. If someone
correct, it is Alabama. Yep.
Yeah. And so it is going to be, I think that game is going to be huge, to be honest. I think it's going to be one of the more watched first round games, even more than the Miami versus Texas A&M game. So I'm really thinking that. And it'll be very interesting. You have Ty Simpson versus Mateer. That matchup is going to be really interesting. The defenses, I know Alabama's probably going to be coming in pissed the fact that they lost to Georgia the way they did, you know, and the fact that they're going up against a team they already lost against. What are you guys' thoughts on that game? I think that's going to be a big game for first week.
I'm just gonna jump out of the gate here. It's a Friday night. It's gonna kick off the first round. I mean, I have this strange suspicion that Oklahoma finds a way to win this game by 3. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be one of those, oh man, they're going to win it all moments. But it's going to be one of those grindy games, and they're going to find a way to do a nice little walk-off field goal and advance to the second round. This team's just one of those grindy, gritty. The numbers, nothing pops up off the stat sheet for this team. They just find ways to win games.
There's only one question for me, because I think both teams are kind of evenly matched up. I think you have athletes on both sides. They both have quarterbacks that I would say are competent quarterbacks, right? At least it's not like you're looking at a matchup to where, you know, one team has the advantage over the other. I think Mateer and Ty Simpson is a very evenly matched up from that standpoint. The question I would have, and again, y'all, the college guys, we're old enough to understand it, and we've all heard where there's smoke, there's fire. We were talking about Michigan earlier, and there's DeBoer or whatever, the coach in Alabama. There's been there's been rumors, Ali, of him maybe going to Michigan. Now I know he's been doing a good job out in the media saying I'm not going nowhere, this, that, and a third. The question I have, when I look at this matchup, 2 evenly matched teams, quarterback play virtually even, at least in my opinion. Could there be a possibility that those players maybe are not fully sold, that their coach is fully committed? And if that's the case, I would have a big question for Alabama. So that, again, for me, it's about the head coach. Can the head coach get his players to buy in, let them know, listen, it's all about Alabama. I'm not going nowhere. I'm in for the fight with you. Or, again, is there tension? Or do the kids look at maybe him sideways and like, oh, I don't know if I can trust this coach all the way? Because, again, the matchup to me is even. It's all about the coach at this point for Alabama. Can you get your guys to buy in? If they do, I think for me, I would pick Alabama. To Mystic's point, I think it's a close game. I don't think it's a blowout by no stretch of the imagination. That's the question I have. The biggest question is, can those kids in Alabama trust the coach? And is the coach fully invested? Or, again, where there's smoke, there's fire, is there a possibility that he is looking or interested in the Michigan job?
I completely agree with you. I think that does play a little bit into the psychological aspect of where Alabama sits right now. You have those losses. You have that wing over your head. Michigan has yet to hire somebody as the permanent head coach. There's been names thrown around. How long will they take to find their head coach? What happens if they lose this game? You think DeBoer is gonna still want to be there? Who knows? You know, that all that plays into it. I think the biggest thing is the keys to this game. Who's gonna win the turnover battle? Right? Oklahoma won the turnover battle last time. They dominated in that way. That's what won them the game. Oklahoma's run defense versus Alabama's running game. I want to say this is the first year that I'm not impressed with Alabama's running game. You know what I mean? I can't even name a running back on their team that I would want to draft. Every year, we always knew somebody. You know what I mean? We knew there was Derrick Henry. There was the guy that plays running back for the Lions. What's his name? Steve, help me.
Jameer Gibbs.
Jameer Gibbs, right? There was
Najee Harris.
Harris.
Mark Ingram.
There's always a freaking running back from Alabama that you want to draft, right?
Josh Jacobs.
This year, I don't know who the running backs are for that team. You know what I mean? It's kind of weak in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think that's where Oklahoma is going to really try to dominate. And it also, watching that Georgia game, I'm not going to lie, bro. Alabama kind of put it out there how to beat them. Georgia just dominated the line of scrimmage, made it hectic for for
Damn
Ty
it.
Simpson, and I really think Oklahoma, if they have it in them, they just need to replicate that, and
You
they win this
just
game easy.
you just took exactly what I was gonna say. I don't know if it's a hot take or not. I think Alabama's gonna get blown out. I think Georgia put out exactly what you need to do to embarrass them. I
Yeah,
think this might be an ugly game and not in the way people want it to be ugly. It could just be me. But I was not happy with how Ty Simpson played in the championship game. I think he looked rattled. I think he was missing throws that should be easy for a quarterback at his level to play at. If Oklahoma can attack the line of scrimmage the way Georgia did, this is going to be a rough night for Alabama.
Follow up question for me, real quick, just rapid fire answer. Alabama, we wake up Saturday morning, Alabama has lost Friday night. DeBoer takes the Michigan job, yes or no?
yes.
Yes.
Wow, Ali. Steve, wow. Or was that Mystic?
That was a mistake.
Steve?
I don't know. I don't know.
Mm.
Can
I don't know.
Go ahead. Give me your take, because I'll tell you why I think so.
I honestly don't know. That's my take. I have no fucking clue. That's a wild question.
Well, first of all, from my understanding, DeBoer is kind of I want to say he's from somewhere like Idaho or something like that, and the type of people that are in Michigan kind of relate to someone from Idaho, essentially. So there's like, I think he feels more comfortable in that type of environment, if you understand what I mean. I think that there's if you look at what he's been able to accomplish at Alabama, I think there's too much, there's too many variables, right? There's too much competition for DeBoer. Whereas if you go to a Big Ten, and I'll admit this, you look at the competition board, you got to worry about the Ohio States, the Penn States, or the Oregons, and now Indiana's, right? Those are the four teams that you really got to worry about if you're coaching for Michigan. The SEC, they're competitive up and down the board. So that's kind of the difference. I know that's my unbiased take, but if you also remember, prior to taking the Alabama job, he really wanted that Michigan job bad, right? And that's what he wanted. And they didn't give it to him. And Alabama, hired him, which was kind of crazy. So, I mean, I think he does. I think he does jump ship if he loses, especially how he loses. If it's a blowout, like kind of what Steve was saying, I think he leaves. That's my take.
So real quick, another follow-up question, because this is starting to get into a spicy conversation. Ali, I think you touched on it. Michigan hasn't named a head coach yet. If they win now in a scenario reverse, Alabama wins, they continue in the college playoff. Would it be a tell to any one of you three gentlemen if Michigan continues to hold off on their head coaching search? Because to me, if Alabama keeps winning, let's say progressing in the playoff, but Michigan is still like waiting in the wing without hiring anybody, it kind of like gives you they're waiting for something. Obviously, could that be the loss of DeBoer in Alabama?
I'll wait to give my take. Steve or Mystic, you guys want to go? And I'll try.
There's no such thing as a coincidence. And if that's how things start to line up, I mean, it'll also just speak for itself.
I echo Mystic on that.
I think it'll be very telling, like you said, Lewis. For me, I don't know if Michigan can wait that long though. I think because of recruiting and the transfer portal, because I don't know if you know this year, officially players are going to transfer as of January 2nd. And this is the only, from my understanding, this is the only transfer, what do they call that, window that they get. That's that they don't get like a second window like they have in years past. So I think it's a little bit more tougher on them because they got to figure out something. certain players have a deadline decision to make on entering the transfer portal. Bryce, what's his name? Bryce Underwood, their star quarterback, who's trash in my opinion. That'll be another story for another time. He has a decision to make, and I know him and his family said that they wanted to wait and see, who they hire if they're going to enter the portal. I don't know how long they can wait though, because I think there's like a certain amount of days you have to declare by before it's too late. So I don't know. What do you think, Lewis?
To be fair, Ali, again, I think that again, there's smoke. Where there's smoke, there's fire. I think I know Tone when he was up here, you and him were kind of talking about PR. I think there's a lot of PR going on. And again, we looked at what kind of Lane Kiffin had to go through when he decided to go to LSU. Ole Miss basically telling him they wouldn't let him continue to coach the team during the playoffs. I think the board kind of looks at that situation. He's playing the PR game. I'm kind of with Ali and Mystic on this one. I think Saturday morning, maybe that's a little too premature, maybe a little early. But I do think if Alabama lead or loses, I think the board does take the Michigan job. I think where there's smoke, there's fire.
They have till January 23rd for the college football players to declare. The players who are not participating have till January 5th.
That's right. They get an extension, but Michigan's not in it though, right? So they get
so
to
January 5th.
January 5th. Yeah, see, that's kind of close. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I do have a question, and I don't know if anybody has the answer to this. There was something I read that they were saying Lane Kiffin has not signed his contract with LSU yet. Is that true?
That's what the web is saying. That's what the web is saying. So from what I could find, it looks like he hadn't signed it yet.
It's just really interesting how he's been announced the head coach and he hasn't signed his contract yet. That's nuts. Especially if the event that DeBoer does leave Alabama to go to Michigan, does Lane Kiffin go to Alabama? Because that's ultimately where he wanted to be, from what I understood.
I can absolutely see that happening too.
That would be nuts. Talk about merry-go-round of coaching. That would have been absolutely nuts if that happens.
I mean, that you want to talk about a shocker. I don't understand how you leave Ole Miss. You've been there for 6 years. You built up that program. Obviously, I understand why you leave there to go to LSU. It's a bigger program, better recruiting, better at pretty much everything. But, man, to leave LSU without even coaching a game, right, after leaving one team. Listen, Lane Kiffin has had a reputation all the way from a couple college teams he's coached, even in the NFL. They've kind of put a bad label on him. I don't know if that's the best look, right, from an optic standpoint of what you want to kind of portray you as a coach, as a leader of men, of whatever. You just left the program to get to one, and all of a sudden, without even coaching a game there, you're already leaving. I think that would put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth about Lane Kiffin. And again, if he did do this, right, let's say he did take the Alabama job, just for me at least, that would be, you better make a career at Alabama, because I don't see you going anywhere else.
I wouldn't hire him. Even if I was Alabama, I wouldn't hire him if he did something like that, bro. I just can't. I can't do it. My thoughts. All right. Next, the next bracket, you got Oregon and James Madison. I have Oregon easily winning this game. I think the players at Oregon are just too athletic. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this game, Mystic? I know you have some thoughts on Oregon because that's your dark horse for the whole thing.
Yeah, I think this is an easy win. Should be no problem. They should be having some nice stretches and all, getting ready to go to the next round,
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think it'll be very interesting. They'll end up facing Texas Tech, and I know we'll get into that in that week after, that matchup.
For sure.
So that will be really interesting. what happens there. But I do expect Oregon to just, I don't want to say belt to ass, but I think it'll be a respectable win ultimately, and they're just going to be too dominant, in my
I
opinion.
think Dante Moore uses this game to try and make an argument for getting closer to Mendoza.
I definitely agree. I could see they could stat pat this game a little bit. You're right. I could see that happening. What are your thoughts, Lewis? Go ahead.
This for me, Ali, Mystic, Steve. This is the only thing or the aspect of the college football playoffs that I don't like, because I understand the top four, like Ohio State, the Texas Tech of the world, them getting a bye week. It's well deserved. They earned it. I don't believe that Oregon, in my opinion, this is a bye week. Right? They're going to play a game, but it's a bye week, and I just think it's unfair. Like, we're highlighting matchups. Look at what Miami has to face in Texas A&M. You look at Alabama versus Oklahoma, right? These are big time matchups, and when I look at Oregon versus James Madison, it's a tune-up game. It's virtually just a week of. I mean, realistically, does James Madison have a chance here? They do not. So this is the only aspect of the college football playoffs that I don't like. I get the top four teams or the top four seeds getting a bye week. In my opinion, this is another one though, and I just, for me, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. When I think about playoffs in the NFL and now in college football, I want to see the best of the best. And listen, James Madison, good season, congratulations. But at the end of the day, I don't believe they're one of the 12 best teams in college football, in my opinion. And I just think it's unfair for other teams. Again, like if I'm Oklahoma or Alabama, I'm hot. I'm a Hurricane fan, and I got to go to Texas A&M. I'm hot when Oregon gets to stay at home and play James Madison. I just don't agree with that. But listen, I to y'all's point, I think it's an easy win for Oregon. It's a tune-up game, basically.
Yeah, I agree. We've talked about it before. I honestly think that these rankings, I agree the top four people should get the bye, but they need to figure out some way to make the matches in the first round a lot more competitive. And it shouldn't be where Indiana is going to end up facing, some of the toughest opponents on their side. Because they're the number one team, they should be playing the lowest seeded team in this playoffs, right? Or the lowest two, and so on. I think they need to figure the matchups or the seeding correctly. How they do that, I don't know, but it's something to think about. What do you guys have any final thoughts on that game before we move on to the next matchup real quick?
No, I'm good.
The next matchup is Ole Miss versus what is that? Tulane, right? I have Ole Miss winning this game. I think that with the SEC talent that they have, even not having Lane Kiffin there, I think that they still are respectable enough to win that game. Shout out to Tulane and everything that they do there. I'm very I'm impressed with what they've been able to accomplish this season. But I think it's going to be Georgia versus Ole Miss when it's said and done in that next round. What do you guys think?
I think Georgia is getting a bye week in round two. So I got Tulane for the upset.
What do you think, Steve?
That Tulane for the upset would be crazy.
That's
hey, you know what? I'm about that. I need an upset this weekend. I'll take that upset. That would be crazy. Tulane just coming out of nowhere. I kind of like that.
Look, I know Ole Miss doesn't have Lane Kiffin there, but that doesn't mean his former coaches can't pick up where he left off. They still have the talent. They were at one point the number 4 ranked team in the nation. You know what I'm saying? I honestly think that I think that they're going to take care of Tulane. But it would be crazy if that happens. Hey, this might be that one Duke moment from last week where I said there's no way in hell Duke's winning the ACC championship game. And boy, did I put my foot in my mouth. So maybe this is that moment. So we shall see. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
for me again, this is the same thing I just said about Oregon. I think Ole Miss, there's just too much talent. It's SEC talent. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't the Tulane head coach, that's the new head coach at Florida, correct? The University of Florida?
Yeah, this is going to be the battle of the head coachless teams, and I think Tulane's just going to want it more.
Yeah, see, I'm going to go the opposite way, Mystic. I think the head coach of Tulane, again, no shot at them. Great season. They made it in. Congratulations. I think this is where the party ends. I think his focus is at more on Florida at this point. Um, like when I look at the Brian Hartline situation, he yeah, he accepted the job at USF, but he again, Ryan Day is the operator, the captain of the ship at Ohio State, so he can go kind of back and forth. When you're the head coach at Tulane, but now you're the head coach at Florida, again, I'm not trying to say he doesn't want to do a good job at Tulane. I just think his
Mhm.
heart is not all the way in it. He's looking more towards the future. I just think Ole Miss kind of overmatches them. Maybe close at first, maybe competitive here for a little bit. I think by the end of it, it's a Ole Miss kind of runs away with the game.
I kind of agree with you. Ole Miss, I think, is going to run away with this game, but I want to feed something on what I think it was you, Mystic, that said that you think Tulane's going to want it more. Ole Miss are pissed off. The players are pissed off. The fan base is pissed off at Lane Kiffin and how he jumped ship the way he did. Right? I'm going to go ahead and say it. Lane Kiffin got called a hoe at a game, had to talk about it, and then left like a host because he is one. Right? And for me, I honestly think that because of that and how pissed off they are, Ole Miss is going to use that to fight in that game. And I think they ultimately win, not just by talent, but just pure aggression and how they're upset with how things turned out for them. So I felt bad for those players because I think it's not fair to those players that their coach leaves the fashion that he did. He could have waited until after the season was completed or whatever, or told, LSU, hey, I'm really considering this, but I need to wait till after the season's done. He could have done something like that and not just, I don't know. The way it just got handled was really bad, to be honest. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the matchup. Some interesting news in regards to transfers. I wanted to kind of dabble in that real quick because there was some things that I saw, and let me bring this up. Some breaking news. I don't know if you guys saw, like 2 episodes ago, I talked about Legend Bay, the Texas athlete. He's a 4-star athlete. He's like the number 7 athlete in the country. Was committed to Ohio State. Had some early signing day shenanigans happen where his mom and his brother, after the Brian Hartline news broke that he was taking the South Florida job, basically forced him to sign with Tennessee. There was even rumors that his mom or his brother forged his signature on the sheet. Turned 18 recently, and he requested his release from Tennessee. Tennessee has officially granted him his release of signing with them. And all reports that have come out so far believe he's about to commit and sign with the Ohio State University. So I just wanted to give everyone an update on that. That was some crazy early signing day stuff with his mom. He was at his, check this out. He was at his early signing day announcement. You know how everybody usually has an event, maybe in a gymnasium or somewhere where they announce where they're going to go. He was dressed up as Brutus the Buckeye, like the mascot. They had Ohio State, everything, colors and all that. Like he was about to say, I'm going to Ohio State. His mom walks in the gymnasium, grabs him and pulls him over and says, no, you're going to Tennessee. And basically forced him, because he was 17 at that time, to go to Tennessee. And he waited till he was 18 and then requested his release. So pretty interesting. Hell of an athlete. If you get a chance, go check out Legend Bay out of North Texas. Check out his highlights on YouTube. There's some really cool film of him. I'm kind of
Some
excited.
more
to see what
breaking
happens.
news
Go ahead.
just broke 3 minutes ago on 3 Sports.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is hiring LSU interim head coach Frank Wilson to their staff.
Wow, some LSU Ole Miss shenanigans. That's some interesting stuff. More fuel to the fire, man. More fuel to the fire. Other news. I read somewhere, and maybe you, Lewis or Steve, can talk about this. The quarterback of USF, he pulled out of playing in your bowl game. Is that correct?
Yes. So he pulled out there. It's kind of weird. I know Steve has kind of touched on it. So he won't be playing in the game, but he will be part of the coaching staff. He will be coaching. Now, there's some rumblings. Again, I live in the city. I know everybody's super happy about some of the moves they're making. What I think it's crazy or interesting that Byron Brown hasn't missed like a team meeting, they say. Like he's at all team functions. He's been going to meetings, this, that, and the third. So it just, does he end up staying? If it was me, I look at the situation. Again, he had crazy numbers this year. I know it's a smaller school. People really probably don't even know who the kid is. He put up some historic numbers. I know Steve kind of during the season was highlighting maybe possibly him sneaking into the Heisman Trophy conversation. But no, to answer your question, Ali, he will not be playing. He will be part of the coaching staff. And I'm looking forward to see, it's kind of conflicting reports. Some days down here, they're saying he's staying. Some days they're saying he's leaving. So it's a wait and see game. But as far as the bowl game, he will not be playing in the game, but he will be on the sideline coaching. So
Rob Higgins tweeted out earlier today that him and Brian Hartline have been in many conversations with Bynum Brown and his family. So
yeah, Brian Hartline also said that day one he was already on the phone making phone calls and talking to certain families and players. So it'll be very interesting what happens. I want to say, and this is why I want to say this, as you saw, there's been a lot of breaking news on Twitter where several QBs across the country are entering the transfer portal. The Georgia Tech QB more recently entered the transfer portal. People are saying that he's destined to go to Florida to replace DJ Lagway, who also entered the portal. People are rumoring DJ Lagway, and I want to say it's Sam Levitt. I think that's his first name, Levitt from Arizona, I think. Quote me if I'm wrong.
Sam Levitt.
For the Miami job. So that will be really interesting if they were able to pull that off. But Lewis Sorbsby, the quarterback out of Cincinnati, you and I and Steve and Mystic have had conversations in the spaces about him, especially on how he would fit in an NFL position. He announced today, not today, but yesterday, I know there was announcements that he's going to enter the transfer portal. But also, I heard he's also waiting on an NFL grade. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I think he stays another year. But the rumor has it that the two teams that are most interested in Sorbsby is both Texas Tech and Indiana. And the one QB that's kind of left out that you thought would go to Texas Tech, but they're saying they're not interested, is Dylan Raiola. So what do you think about Sorsby at either of those schools, or Dylan Raiola? Where do you think he could end up?
As far as Sorsby goes, man, I think there's a lot to like. Another unknown kid playing at a small school in Cincinnati, Ali. I believe it was you when I brought him up there originally. You went back and you looked at some of his numbers. I think he won a couple of awards during the season for like the best player of the weekend and things of that nature. So again,
Yeah.
I think whatever school kind of lands Sorsby, I think they're going to get a good player, and I would love to see him get, being at Cincinnati, going and, taking his game to the next level, going and playing some upper tier competition. I definitely, for me, I like Sorsby. Now, the thing is, to your point, I heard the same thing. He's looking for the NFL grade. If a team possibly, or multiple teams, because I doubt he's a first rounder. Depending on how many quarterbacks come out, could it be a second round grade? Does he end up leaving for the NFL? A team like Miami, right? Three
Mhm.
third round picks. If a team kind of like Miami, let's say for instance, we're all Dolphin fans here. I know it's a college podcast, but if the Dolphins, let's say, were in contact with Sorsby, which again there was report, rumors, things I heard that they were interested. If Miami came and said, "Hey, Sorsby, listen, man, we got a third round grade on you. We got 3 third round picks. If you're there, we're taking you." Quick question, rapid fire. Would you? Is a third round grade, Ali? I guess I'll start with you. Is that good enough in your opinion? Like if you were that kid and an NFL team said, "Hey, you're a third round pick. I got 3 third rounders. I'm coming to get you in the third round." Would you be staying in college, Ali, or are you booking it for the NFL?
If you're at this point, you're a third round pick, and how much NIL money you know there is in college, I think you could risk another year in college, to be honest, especially Cincinnati, they're in what? They're in the Big 12, right? Or where's Cincinnati? What conference are they in?
Big 12.
Big 12, right? So they're in the Big 12. Big 12 is an offensive conference, not really known for having the deepest teams at defense, right? I think another year, but somewhere else, I think could help him, elevate him to maybe a low first round or mid first round pick, to be honest. He showed a lot of talent. You talked about the stats and the awards I looked at. He has a lot of promise. I just think he needs another year. That's a problem with a lot of these quarterbacks. Like we talked about DJ Lagway, or here's another name that announced that he's staying, Lenore Sellers, right? Everyone talks about him. All those guys have announced they're staying another year because I really think they do need that extra year of development. For Sorsby, though, I think maybe a different school might be a good option. A school to watch for, especially if his quarterback doesn't come from Iowa State. Watch out for Penn State to go after Sorsby, or Indiana. I think both of those schools would be a great fit for him. Also,
Well, I was going to say Sorsby with Matt Campbell at Penn State would be pretty damn good.
yeah,
But it would also be throwing a gamble, right? Because again, we talked about all these quarterbacks staying. Lenore Sellers is staying. There's rumors that the Dante Moore might stay. Ty Simpson sounds like he might be staying. Arch Manning is staying. So now you're throwing your hat into probably one of the most loaded quarterback classes, maybe not in overall talent, but just in sheer number. Just the collection of quarterbacks in next year's draft. Like we're starting to get to a point where I don't think another year is going to help these kids in their draft stock. It's just going to put them into a mosh pit.
See, I disagree. I think there's for example, if you look at the state of the quarterbacks now, I think there's an upper echelon of quarterbacks like the Mendozas, the Pavias, even you look at Julian Sain. I'll even use this one, Oregon kid. What's his name? Dante Moore, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think there's an upper echelon, and then there's mid, right? And looking into 2020, the next draft after that, you look at the upper echelon name that I can give you is maybe Arch Manning, but even he looked mid this year. He didn't look the best version of himself, right? Outside of that, everyone is still mid. So I think another year you could maybe carve out a portion where, hey, I'm part of that upper echelon in the right program, such as an Indiana or a Penn State or another bigger school that has better talent than what Cincinnati has. I think that will help him. I think that will help show off his skill.
Ollie, you said Julian Sayin. If Dante Moore's talking, there's rumors he may stay in college and not come out this year, right? So there's 2 quarterbacks right there you called in the upper echelon, right? So now he's already dealing with that. Arch is starting to actually play well at the end of the season. I don't know if anybody else felt that way.
Damn it, you're
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arch is
No,
starting to play
seriously,
better.
go look. He got better as the season went on.
Yeah, he was a lot better at the end of the year. Like, you're now throwing your hat into that, and then Lenore Sellers, what is he going to look like after another year at I know it's South Carolina, but if he gets better, now you're dealing with 4 quarterbacks who are easily could be considered first round draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You're
part of that, the crazy part about it all is Ali, was saying, mid when it came to certain quarterbacks, but Arch Manning had the pretty much the same stat line as Julian Sand did this year. Quite interesting. Like, it's some of these guys do need that year, and I think to everyone's point in here, I think some of those guys need to take the opportunity that is your draft stock could go up higher this year because it's a lower draft of number of quarterbacks wise. Get in there, get your money. Because if you wait till next year, some of those guys who are going to take that next year and actually use it to jump and get better and take strides within their game,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to find yourselves become Mr. Irrelevant at that point.
I mean, you look at some of these NIL deals, right? And I'm hearing like the average for most of these QBs, like the better ones, is around $3 million, right? That's equivalent to what someone is making in their rookie season. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't really think there's that big of a risk, to be 100% honest. I get you. If he was in the second round to first round, I probably wouldn't stay another year, right? But third round, there's a good gap that I think he can stay another year and get himself in a better situation. Just in my opinion. Plus, I want to say, looking at the schools that are going to need QBs in this cycle, there's rumors that Rams might go QB first pick. Could you imagine if the Rams end up with the first pick?
and take Mendoza.
That would be nuts, right? Then after that, you look at the Raiders, you look at the Browns, you look at maybe Arizona, which I really think they needed a QB 2 seasons ago, but that's just my opinion. You look at that. I don't know. I still think that I think 2027 is going to be a year where you see like 6 to 8 QBs taken in the first round. Like we saw what was that 2 years ago? You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. That was a great question, Lewis. I really appreciate that. But it's time for the bottom line. It's time for the bottom line. It has been a crazy, wild college football season. I think that the past month has been absolutely nuts. If you're on Twitter, you'll see college football news flowing in like a tidal wave. It's kind of crazy. Check us out. Make sure you hit the like button. We have almost 70 people watching now. Make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe if you're brand new. I know we're live on TFTG, but come over to @4thand10U. Come to our actual channel. Follow us there. That's where you're going to get most of our college football takes and everything. We're trying to go every Tuesday. And also follow us on Twitter if you want as well. Lewis, man, thank you so much for being here, man. I really appreciate you coming, you and Tony. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Hey, Ali, I appreciate the invite, man. This was a blast. I'm not going to lie to you. I had a little trepidation because I'm not I don't talk really college football, but again, you 3 gentlemen made it very easy. The conversation was great. You can find me over there with Tone and Jess at the Blitz Pickup, going live Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We will be live tomorrow doing our film breakdown of the Dolphins and Pittsburgh Steelers from last night. And again, for the people that's still watching or might watch this video later on or whatever, listen, 4thand10U is the place to be for college football. Again, I appreciate everybody. If you're not subscribed to this channel, please do so. Great information, great group of guys here. They obviously know what they're talking about. And again, I'll see you guys tomorrow. But Ali, Steve, Mystic, y'all do a great job. Ali, appreciate the invite. And we'll definitely have to do this again, man, because I enjoyed myself for real. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, maybe when we get to see that Ohio State Miami matchup, definitely, because I'm gonna talk so much smack.
So is that what in like 2027, 2028? We ain't seeing that this season. That ain't happening.
Oh, damn. Okay.
But,
All
hey,
right,
man,
Lewis.
I'll get up out of here, but y'all have a great night. Ali, again, I'm sure we'll talk tomorrow, but appreciate the invite, man. Y'all be good.
You too, Lewis. Salute to you, sir. Check out the Blitz Pickup. Those guys are awesome. They break down film. They talk about Miami Dolphins, and not just the Dolphins, just NFL in general. Definitely check them out if you can, and make sure you follow them over there. I'll try to put the link to their channel in the description of the show. Steve, what is your final thoughts? What are your final thoughts on everything we talked about tonight?
I think this is about to be one hell of a college football weekend coming up. I think there's definitely something that needs to be done about what's happening at Michigan, and whatever they decide to do, rather it is the multiple year suspension and stop of their ability to give out scholarships. Like, something's got to happen. They have to. This has to set the precedent. That I will agree. Overall, it needs to happen. I think this new offensive coordinator, if all indications are true and he does sign for USF, that's great for them, and I think great for Heartline. So we'll see what happens with the college football playoffs this weekend, and we'll be back, I'm sure, next Tuesday to really break it down and see how everything worked out.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. It's going to be really wild how things turn out. Mystic, what do you got?
Yeah, just gonna want to continue to say kind of the same thing that Steve was saying in the sense of the Michigan situation. That's a whole lot going on. Hopefully, for the sake of all the good people, alma mater of Michigan. Hopefully, for everyone overall, we can see something get done about that. To see them actually get back to where that program should be. I feel like college football, sports in general, are better when Michigan isn't in all that dirty business. Now, on to this weekend. I'm super excited. Obviously, I called an upset. I'm all for the upsets. I'm all for the underdog. Would love to see Tulane go on to that next round. Other than that, again, super excited for the weekend. College football playoffs are starting. Thank you all for tuning in. We will definitely talk to you guys soon.
Definitely. And make sure you hit like and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell. As we start to wrap up the college season altogether with the playoffs and the finals and everything, the championship game, we're going to start moving into the off season where we're going to start talking about, NFL draft prospects coming from college. We'll kind of follow that path. We'll break down some players, give some mock drafts, and I'm going to even be inviting fans from that other content creators from other for other NFL teams onto here, so we can talk about those college prospects and how they fit their team. So I think that'll be really fun as well. But anyway, till next time, we'll see you guys on the flip side of things. Check out Mystic in the Spaces on Twitter, though. Follow him on Twitter so you guys can come into Spaces and chat with us. But until next time, y'all have a